thank you so much for joining me and giving me your time. I know that you've got a hot date planned soon, so ooh la la, and I'm sure Mr. Spooner's getting ready and putting on his best shirt and doing his hair. And if you
no, but
don't
it's a nice spot.
I'm sure he is in his own way. He might be out the back going, I'm hungry, come on, get on with this. So if people don't know Suzanne Spooner, she's very much, I consider Suzanne the #1 Qhht practitioner in the world. She's certainly got the highest profile in the world, and she's amazing, and she's very much my Qhht hero. And she's got so much information on her website and her Facebook page, so if for some reason you don't know who Suzanne Spooner is, just look her up on Facebook, and she's got so much information. She has a wealth of knowledge, and I'm just so grateful to have Suzanne Spooner in my life. Now, you've probably done, I don't know how many sessions, but I'm thinking you must have some real funny or some odd sessions.
Well, first, thank you for asking me to be a part of this sharing of stories, because that's one thing as practitioners that we love to do amongst ourselves is share the amazing things that happen, because, you know, I think one of the most fun parts is we never know what's going to happen in a session. We know the basics of what, you know, how this is going to play out, but we never know where they're going to go to, what their questions are, what their issues are, what those answers will be, what the healing will be. And that's what we just enjoy so much in our jobs, is to watch all of that unfold and have a front row seat to it all, right?
That's exactly what you say. It's the best job in the universes.
Right.
Yes, we get front row seats.
Yeah. And we get to always learn, you know. I mean, I think I know nothing, and every session I learn something new, and I have something else to ponder on. And, you know, the gratitude I feel for a small part in assisting the clients to find their answers in healing is what fills me up. And like you had mentioned, we have some pretty funny things that happen in sessions, and again, unexpected, so it makes it even better, right?
Totally. So just tell me just a few that stick out in your mind.
Okay. Oh gosh, the first one that pops into my head was, oh my gosh, I think I have this one out on my YouTube channel. I had a couple come to me. I have a lot of couples for some reason that come in for sessions, and typically there's one of the couple that's totally into Dolores, and they read some books and they know what this is all about. And the other one is usually like, I have no idea what this is, you know, he or she drugged me here and, you know, whatever. And, you know, which you would think that would be the hard one to do, right? But what I found, not always, and actually I just had a couple, and this contradicts what I'm saying here, but the one that doesn't know much about it is the one that oftentimes has this mind-blowing session, because they have no expectations. They don't know what to expect. And so this couple came, and oh my gosh, so he was the one that followed Dolores and was really excited about it. And he had a great session. I don't remember off the top of my head what his was, but it was very good. His wife comes in the next day. So they were born in Vietnam and came over to the U.S. During the war. And she doesn't know what to expect. He's kind of told her she didn't really care to understand it. So it was a big blank slate. And so she still has a bit of a Vietnamese accent, but I can understand her just fine. We're communicating great. But why that's interesting is because when she goes into her very first past life, she's in the southern part of the United States in the early 1900s, and she has a southern accent, and she's talking like this, and she's on a train with her gentleman friend, and She's having a piece of pecan pie.
Awesome.
And that's when we're sitting beside her going, oh my God, this is like the best. This is so good. But that wasn't even the best of her session. That was awesome. So we get to the end of that life, and we always, take them over to what I would call the spirit side, or, the other side, where they can, kind of do a little review of that life, of why, what they learned in that life. And so we're on the spirit side, and she starts talking about what's going on around her, and she's in a classroom. Well, we're in a classroom. We need to find out what's being learned there, because that's a pretty special experience. One of my favorites. And so I just asked her, do you want to tell me what's going on? And she's so funny. She's like, yeah, apparently I'm not very good at this, because I've been in this class like 3 times, and my teacher won't pass me. She's a little perturbed. And I said, oh, that's so interesting. I said, what are you learning? And she says, I'm learning about, what's that soul contract? Soul formula. I'm learning about my soul formula. And I said, oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever heard about a soul formula. Can you tell me what it is? And she's like, well, if I could tell you what it is, I wouldn't be in the class still. Okay, well, heck, this is so interesting, though. And she's telling me about her teacher, and he's, this very wise person. There's only a few people, I think, in the class. They're all at different stages of figuring out their soul formula. And I'm just dying to know, what in the heck is this soul formula? And so somehow she starts talking with her teacher. And so that's my segue. And I want to, see if I can talk to the teacher and get more information here. And so we're doing like a 3-way conversation. Can you ask him this? And then he answers through her, and so this is one of my little tricks, is when we've got a third party there and there's some really good information to dive for, I'll just ask them if they want to my client, you can step back and I can just ask this person directly, or this being. And then I'm sitting beside them going like this, hoping that they want to do that. And this is what's so funny about her session. You can hear it on the recording. Like part of her comes up a little bit, and she's talking to her teacher, and she says, well, do you want to talk to Suzanne? And I'm like, ooh, this is like almost like possible rejection from a higher being. I don't know if I want to put myself out for that. But right then, there's a shift of the voice, which we witness in most sessions. The voice will change, sometimes a little, sometimes a lot. And, I would say it was more like a very male presence. It says, okay, what do you want to know? And I'm like, yes, everything.
Typical Suzanne Spooner answer. Give me everything.
I just want everything. And so, we're talking, I'm like, soul formula. What in the heck is a soul formula? And he's like, well, and he starts, give me just a little bit. He's like, I can't tell you because she's got to figure this out on her own. And I'm like, okay, fine. That's fine. And tell me about you. I started interviewing her teacher on the other side. And he says that he's from the 10th dimension. But he likes to come down to the 6th dimension. I believe that's where this classroom is. And he likes to teach this. So it was just this great conversation. And then we get like, I'm trying to think of more questions. And he goes, hey, Suzanne, I've got to go. I've got to go teach this class. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm so sorry. Thank you for your time. It was the funniest. Oh, so that, those, I don't know. I just love those. I giggle through them because it's just like, I cannot believe what I do for a living, that this is what I get to do. I get to have these conversations with these 10th dimensional beings, and interview them and find out information about soul formulas. So What about you? I know you've had some great sessions. What are some of the ones you've loved?
Just going back to your one. So how did the client feel after it? Because she didn't believe in anything at all, like what you're saying. So how did she feel after it? Was she aware after it of everything that went on?
You know, gosh, it was a while ago. If I remember right, she was aware because we were talking about Tom was his name. That's what he said. He was getting ready to go and he goes, "Oh, by the way, my name is Tom." I'm like, "Of course it is. Hi, Tom. I'm Suzanne." So she was aware of Tom a little bit. I don't remember how much she remembered or didn't from that session. I'm sorry. But she and I were in conversation. When I was asking her permission to put her session out, it was actually over a year, I think, from when I did her session. I was just thinking on it, kept popping into my head. So I thought maybe it's a good one to share. And so we were communicating, asking if I could share that one. And she seemed to really not have a lot of questions going into it because it was all, everything was fine with her. So it was, I don't know if it was a life-changing one for her. It was a heck of a lot of fun for me. But I don't know that she was really seeking a lot of answers that I can recall.
Yeah, it's really important for QHHT practitioners to actually listen to your YouTube videos, because your questions, I have learned so much just in listening to the way that you conduct your sessions, and you're not leading any questions, you're just gathering the information. It's such an eye-opener for QHHT practitioners. They really are.
Thank you, John. But that just goes back to Dolores. I get my knowing from how she conducted her sessions, and she was so adamant that we ask open-ended questions so that the client is telling their own story. If we're leading or assuming that that they're seeing something or feeling something, then what ends up happening is the client tells our story through their eyes, and that's not most beneficial for them. So and it's way more interesting when they share their own story, and we just get to ask the good open questions and get more juicy details.
Yeah, there's lots of funny sessions, lots and lots of funny sessions. I always sometimes if it's a really out there sort of session, I actually like asking the subconscious sometimes. I go, is the client even going to believe this? Yeah. And the amount of the times that the subconscious goes, no way, she's not going to believe a word that I'm saying. And I'm always laughing.
I love that.
It's so funny, and I'm just laughing and laughing and laughing. That's what I've noticed about your session, is you're actually like giggling and your vibrations are so high. It's really a gift. Whereas me, I find, because I'm concentrating so much, there's a part of me on the inside that's just laughing and laughing and laughing, but it's not coming out my mouth. It's really funny. I had this one guy, and he was actually, we actually proved his past life. He actually found proof of who he actually was. It was amazing. But he actually stole there was a gang of them, and they actually stole the royal crown jewels.
Oh.
Yeah, it was so cool. And he had the bag, and he was running. And I mean, he was running, and they were after him. And there was a part of, because he was like, and his hands were going all over the place, and they're coming, they're going to get me, they're so heavy, they're coming to get me. But he was so happy that he actually had his hands on them. And part of me was going, run, hurry, get away, go. But they got him.
Oh, you didn't get away with it?
He didn't get away with it, no. But that was the part that when he actually got killed because they executed him, that was the part that we found that was the proof. Because there was a very specific part that he said, because even when he was walking up to where they chopped his head off, the crowd, he was so proud of himself. I was like, why are you so proud? And he was very stoic, and he said, because in this town, because he said the town and this country, this is going to be the very last time that they do this. I was
do
like,
what? Oh, he's the last one to get his head cut off?
It was the very last one. So he knew that he was going to go down in history. And he was so proud of it. Yeah.
So how did he feel about that information when you brought him back up?
There is a very, I know him because, as you know, sometimes clients become very good friends. And there is a very strong rebel part in him. Mm-hmm. Very strong. Yep. He doesn't do anything breaking the law, but he pushes the boundaries as far as he can. Yeah. And he's like,
So he could relate. He could see where this is maybe a pattern in his soul experience.
Totally. And so sometimes the sessions don't actually make sense at all. I had this one lady, she actually came in the other day, and she came in because her friend, she said, I don't know what you did to my friend, but her whole life has changed. She said she stopped smoking, and she's lost 15 kilos. So whatever you did to her, I want some of it. And I was like, I don't do anything. But I remember her session actually, and she was getting on the other half of her life. And her session actually made no sense at all. She was imagining cartoon characters from when she was a kid, and she was in a forest, and she thought that she was Little Red Riding Hood, and she was actually starting to get a little bit frustrated with herself. And so I'm always very calm and demure. So I said, just keep going. And in the end, she started giggling. I was like, that's interesting. And then she started really laughing. And then there was tears coming out, and she was like, this just makes no sense at all, but it's hilarious. And she was laughing for a long, long, long time. And then when I asked her, and as you know, laughing's quite contagious, so I was laughing along with her, and she was just telling me all this really funny stuff. But then when I asked her subconscious, why did you show her that? And she said she hasn't laughed for over 40 years in her life.
Oh.
She's forgotten.
Oh gosh. Wow.
And since that session, she's just released it. There was a part that was so stuffed in there. She just got so caught up in the mundane rut of life, looking at everything negatively. And I was so happy when her friend came and told me she's just a new person now. She's laughing again, she's joying, and she's having fun. She's doing what she wants to do.
You know, that's what's so fun. You know, when they're in their lifetimes, wherever they go, you know, it can be anywhere in the time continuum. You know, like you said, sometimes it's hard for us to understand why they're seeing what they're seeing. But before the end of the session, all those loose strings come together, and we know exactly why their subconscious high self picked that lifetime for them to see. And it's almost never where they thought it was going to be, you know, which is funny because, you know, you take that left brain, you can't make that up. But, you know, I think the last session I did, matter of fact, I think it was the last session. It was so fun because it was a friend of mine, and she'd waited a long time for the session. She'd worried about it. You know, I'm sure the whole time that she wasn't going to be able to go under, she wasn't going to be able to do this. And, you know, me, no, you're going to do great. You know, this is really easy to do. And here's some tips, and you got this. We're golden. And so when she went in right off the bat, it was really abstract. And this abstract experiences can be a little dicey as you're just getting them going, because it's not in a body, male, female, whatever, that they can more easily relate to. She was in this green space with a blue box, like, okay, is there anything in the blue box? No, there's nothing in it. She couldn't figure out why, that blue box was there, but it stayed most of the time. And then she moved, and all of a sudden she's going, horse, I'm on a horse. We're going really fast. And, and you can hear like her voice is like on the horse, like going really, really fast. And she goes, leaves and twigs are flying up everywhere. We're going so fast. I'm going really fast on this horse. We're going to town, It was like completely opposite from being in this green space, and she didn't know why she was there. And she goes, I have spurs, I have a cowboy hat. And she was a cowboy in the old west of America. And you think, what, green space to a cowboy? What is that? But by the end, it all made sense. And, it was exactly what she needed to see to help her understand her life better, which is just one of the most amazing aspects of this work is, I love to ask the SC that a lot. It's, so how did you pick those lifetimes for them to see? What's your mechanism for doing that? And those are answers that are always very interesting. And then sometimes they even go outside of the client's lifetimes, soul experiences, if they can't find what they want them to know, which makes this job even more mind expanding, where they'll go to what we call the collective consciousness, and they'll pull another's life to help explain something that they need to know better. I mean, it's really an infinite pool of knowledge that we're tapping into, which is just mind-blowing.
That's amazing that you said that, because I had one client ring me up the other morning, and she actually went back and she saw her life in the Caribbean, and it was in this like 1700s. Mm-hmm. And she was English, and she actually did a DNA test 4 years ago, and all her heritage was very European. Mm-hmm. But she had a funny feeling. She said, I'm going to ring them up and see if they can go deeper into it. And what she said is she said the DNA is always the same, but the technology has changed so much now in the last 4 years that they actually could go back further and do a more in-depth analysis. And they said, I think it was 1.2% of her DNA came from the Caribbean.
No.
And she had no idea at all. None of her family knew. There was no trace of it or anything. Yeah. So that was amazing. Yeah. So that's sort of exactly what she was doing. She was connecting to the collective consciousness that was showing her family heritage. And now she's actually got scientific proof of it.
Oh, that's so amazing. Cool.
Yeah, so cool. Yeah, yep. There's some really funny pieces of sessions. I remember one guy, he went back to being in Scotland, and he had a kilt on, and he was a pretty serious guy in life and in that past life. But he was actually at a wedding, and he had a big belly, because there wasn't much wartime. It was peacetime. So he had a big belly, and he was feasting up, and he actually went to a wedding, and he was drinking his vessel, his beer, or whatever it was, and everybody was happy. And he said, you know what? I said, what? He goes, I'm just so happy I'm going to start laughing. This isn't his past life. And so he started laughing, and he goes, he said, this is so funny that I've got such a big belly that it's actually jiggling. And he was like, and I said, what else? And he started laughing even more. And he said, what's happening is people are laughing at me, and they're laughing at my belly, that the men's bellies are like mine, and theirs is jiggling now. And he said, He said, everybody's laughing at their own bellies jiggling because we're laughing.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
It was just such a funny moment because in this life he was quite a serious guy, and it was just funny. It's just little pieces of sessions that just stick out to you, and you're just like, oh, it's just so funny. Just sometimes it makes them not cool.
Yeah, the joy of that, it struck me because, here's what I think. I think, everybody that's on the planet right now is here to do really big work if they're aware or not aware. I mean, look at the world around us right now. And I think the world around us is reflecting everything that we're doing inside right now ourselves. So it's chaotic. And I don't know about you, but, I get a lot of clients who have had pretty traumatic lives and, just such huge questions about why, I'm a good person, why did my parents do this, or why did these accidents happen, or, it doesn't make any sense when they come in. Their left brain can't make any sense of it. But in quite a few of those sessions, their subconscious will show them lives of great joy and happiness. And, when I'm asking them, why do you want them to see that? Oftentimes an answer will be something like, they need to see that it's not always so hard. They have had great ease in different lifetimes. This one is a really strong work lifetime. There's a lot to get done in this life, on this planet, at this time. And we just want them to know that it won't always be like this. And I think that gives their heart a lot of, takes some weight off the heart, when they've been trudging through life, feeling like they're a victim or life is so hard. But I say, this is so cliche, but it's so flipping true that when I'm talking to them before we start the actual hypnosis, I'll say, the you that walked in is not the you that walked out. It's a new you. And the you that walks in has all these questions about why these things had to happen, and your left brain cannot make sense of it. And by the time you walk out, it'll be like your blinders have been lifted off, and you'll see everything from such a wider perspective, and it'll be so much easier. It's just, that's one of the immediate gifts I see them have, that the joy and the lifetimes of laughing till your belly is jiggling. And, you just have to think that guy, maybe he's driving his car and he's at a stoplight and he just starts thinking about that and just starts laughing, in the middle of a day where he maybe wouldn't have. It's just, it's such a great gift.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what I find is that people can get such a higher perspective on who they are and what they're all about, and just knowing that it's not just about this lifetime. You're just here to do your thing, but it's only a piece of a much greater puzzle.
Right. And I think one of the other really fun parts is, I don't want to get too much away here for folks that haven't had sessions, but their subconscious personality is oftentimes not the same as their awake and aware personality.
Totally.
And one of my funniest stories on that, well, it just pops into my mind. I don't know if it's the funniest, but I had this gentleman who wanted to have a session with me, and he was one that liked to call me for months before the session and talk with me. And he talked so loud, and I had to hold the phone out like this, as we're talking. And he was telling me, how stupid people are. They don't listen to him, and he knows these really good answers. And, and I'm thinking, yeah, we're going to tackle that one when you come in, and we'll find out what you have to say. And so he's an intense guy, and he comes in, and we're sitting across from each other talking before we start the hypnosis, and he is literally on the edge of his seat with his elbows up, and he wants me to know what he's thinking. And finally, I've never had to do this with a client before, but I had to say, hey, I need you to calm down a little bit, because in a few minutes, I'm gonna have to get you over there and get you really relaxed. And we just need to, take it down just a little bit. And he says, oh, I don't want you to confuse my passion for aggression. And I'm like, don't care what it is, you just have to dial it down a little bit. I mean, I was about wiped out in that first part with him, trying to get all this energy in. And one of his questions on his list were, why are people so stupid and they won't listen to him? I'm like, okay, well, we'll figure that out. And so his SC was so chill, was so relaxed. I'm trying to think of, there's a singer that reminds me of him. He had a real silky, real silky voice. Marvin Gaye, I think, maybe. So when I bring forth the SC and we're talking, and he's like, so let me tell you what this answer is, and he's really close to getting this. And I'm like, dude, I can hang with you now, like this is awesome. I'm just enjoying it. And I've got his list, and I said, he wants to know why people are stupid and they don't listen to him. And his chill SC says, it's really too bad, because he really has good information. It's just his delivery. He just needs to find a calmer way to deliver the information, and they will love what he has to say. And I'm, like, yeah. And I think I even asked that question a couple of different ways, hoping that, that he'll listen to this and pick that up. And so at the end of the session, I am as relaxed as can be. It's just such a joy talking to this very chill SC. And I count him up, and he looks at me, and he's like back, like rah, 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 again. And I'm like, whoa, go back.
You need to listen to your subconscious more. You make sure you listen to that recording.
Yeah, but that's such a fun thing, because you can't make that up. Sometimes these changes in their personality are so dramatic and sometimes very subtle, but yet there. It's just amazing, this other part of us, this
totally.
self subconscious.
Totally. That's why we love this stuff. And people that are scared of having sessions, there's nothing to be scared of at all, is there?
No. And I was just having this conversation, I think, with the last client, perhaps, about she was worried about what she would find out, because she'd had a hard childhood. And I said, here's the best part, is your subconscious completely has your back, and it knows how you need to receive the information for your highest and best way. So you don't have to worry about that at all. And, not every lifetime is a walk in the park lifetime, an easy one. Some are very, very hard, but you're being shown that for a reason, to help you understand this life much deeper than what you've been able to understand up to this point. So it's exploration, and it's information that's going to help you. So we'll trust that everything's being done in your highest and best way, and you've got a good friend sitting beside you, and I'll give you everything I've got to have the very best session that you can, and this is going to be the best day of your life. And then they, I think they get on board there, and it's never a disappointment. It's always that. And
I always try and tell people, just have fun with it. Just have fun.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. I'm just like geeking out on the whole process now. And it's amazing how, like, during the healing part of the session, they'll feel different things happening within their body energetically, that they can't deny. They're just laying on that table, but yet they're feeling a lot of heat, a lot of coolness, things moving around, a weight lifted off of them oftentimes as they're working on things like the heart and the head. I wish everybody knew how amazing they were. I think from my conversations with the great subconscious of my clients that we're moving to a time where we'll be able to access all this information just by ourselves. We won't need practitioners, which is exciting. We're becoming the superhuman, and it's part of our evolution. But well, we need this little bridge, this, you know, a helper to get them there. It's amazing to watch the transformations happen in front of our eyes, and the decades of guilt or sadness that they've carried evaporate away with the healing and the understanding of why they created it, because we all create our own stuff. And then the coup de grace, the cherry on top, is that it's not you or me answering their questions or doing their healing. We're just, I call us the lucky tour guides. And that's empowering, because it's them answering their questions, them doing the healing, which is a whole another level.
That's what I always say to people. I'm not doing anything. I just sit here and ask questions. I just hold a nice, safe, comfortable space for you and ask questions and go on this fun ride with you.
Yeah.
Easy. The whole process is easy, yeah. And it was beautiful what you said. You just want everybody to know how magical and wonderful they actually are. Once people can unlock that, it's awesome. And sometimes we do hear really, like we hear the best of humanity and we hear the worst of humanity.
Yeah.
And I always say to the client, I usually say to the client, wow, why did you pick this one for? You crazy? And they're like, oh, I must have been crazy. And I'm like, we're going to find out. Find out why.
Right, yeah.
But it's always interesting because they always get the answer to it. There's always a reason. I'm the why guy. What were they crazy picking this life? Why did they pick this one for?
Right. Oh my God.
Pick this one.
And that one question can be like an avalanche of information that they never even could have imagined in their wildest dreams.
No, that's right. That's right. And it always makes so much sense to people. Makes so much sense to them. They're just like, wow, I would never have thought about that in a million years. Never. Right. That just makes so much sense. Yeah. They feel so much better.
That's why I love it towards the end when I'm just chatting with their subconscious. So you know, I just rattle off some questions. And one of them typically is, so to the SC, the subconscious, how is it for you today to come forth and share this information? And so often they'll go, oh my God, this is so nice. You know, they're really bad listeners. And oh my gosh, we've been able to get this information through so easily. It's been wonderful.
It always makes me laugh when the subconscious, one of their questions is, the client sometimes goes, I never get any messages. I'm just so not connected. Why does everybody else hear their subconscious? And the subconscious usually goes, wow, how much more do I have to give them? I give them figures, I give them numbers, I give them songs. I talk to her. It's not up to me. I give her a gut feeling. I give her a body ache. It's so funny. I'm always laughing with her. Okay. Maybe they'll listen now.
It's like a marriage, you know, same marriage, completely two different points of view of the same experience, right?
Totally. And speaking of marriage, I know that you've got a hot date, so I won't keep you any longer. Ooh la la. Thank you so much. And if people want to get hold of you, Suzanne Spooner, in my opinion, is the all-time best practitioner in the world. And if you're lucky enough to get a spot with her, what's the best way to get hold of you?
Through my website, and it's just my name, Suzanne Spooner, Qhht.com. You can find my YouTube clips just by searching my name and Qhht on YouTube. That has all the contact information there as well. And I might just add
Beautiful.
that, John, you're an amazing practitioner, and we're so happy that you're in Australia and level 3, and you're doing such great work, and hooray for you. You're doing a good job.
Thank you. And I owe it all, well, 99% of it to Suzanne Spooner.
No. Listen, you're a natural. You got this.
It's easy. I find you can be a great practitioner as long as you just keep calm, be compassionate, don't try and give anybody answers, and just hold a really nice, safe, comfortable space for people.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
That's all you have to do. Yeah.
It's simple. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, John.
Suzanne Spooner.